So Marcus Aurelius talks about not having to, this doesn't have to mean anything, is his quote. Marcus Aurelius has a quote that says, this doesn't have to mean anything. And I was thinking about that today because we can get caught up in torsion fields, which is kind of like a mindset or a heart set about what things mean in a particular context. And so the reason I bring this up now is because I'll give you an example. I could think of an ex-girlfriend or my children or some kind of a scenario that would take my energy away from the present moment. And so when that happens, you're essentially creating a torsion field in your brain or in your heart or in your emotions. And so when you're creating these torsion fields, it may or may not take away from the present moment of what you're experiencing right now. Another example is like, let's say you're trying to go to sleep. And as you try to go to sleep, you have these thoughts that are disturbing or images or ideas or bills that you have to pay the next day or whatever the torsion is, this energetic discomfort, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or some kind of a stressor. But the whole point of me talking to you about this is when you realize the torsion that it's creating, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, empowering or disempowering, you can use the energy to create the next state. So what does that mean in layman's terms? It basically means that all of these experiences that we're having as individuals are subject to the environment that we're in. So if we are in a good environment that's empowering, you're going to get your tendency will be to you're gonna sow good. You reap what you sow. So you're gonna reap something good if you're raised in a good environment, quote unquote good, because it's so subjective. Because what's good for one person might not be good for another, depending on what their viewpoints are. But anyway, the reason I talk to you about this is because these torsion fields that we create, the landmark people would call it rackets. It's basically just a belief system that you're indoctrinated into as you live your life. And so if you're caught in a torsion field, for example, you're heartbroken for a relationship that never worked out, that's a torsion field, and that field can take away energy from the present moment if you're not aware of it. But once you become aware of it, it almost evaporates instantly because you're going to replace that torsion with something else that you create and that you want instead. And so I'll give you another example. Thinking about my first girlfriend, I call her the love of my life because I think she was. But the reason I bring this up is because that's a torsion field. My thought about her being the love of my life is a torsion field. But using Marcus Aurelius philosophy, if nothing has any meaning except the meaning you give it, that's Tony Robbins' adaptation of that quote. But if you focus on the torsion, you're going to get sucked into those emotions of regret or disappointment that it didn't work out and this and that. But you can also unpack and find the lessons in that torsion field because of your awareness of it. So if nothing has any meaning except the meaning we give it, that lesson for me, she's been my greatest teacher my whole life. That lady's been with me my whole entire life. And so I've been sucked into that torsion on and off throughout the years. So when you're feeling heartbreak and disappointment, it's because you're in that state, you're in that torsion field of whatever, regret, whatever those emotions are, longing, heartbreak, etc., fill in the blank. When you're in those torsion fields, it's your job to stay with it, enjoy it if you want to enjoy it and relish in those feelings. But if you want to move from those feelings to another more empowering, then it's our job to take away what's useful from those experiences and what the lesson is. So what's useful about it is, number one, understand, like for me, that lesson of being with that lady was if I would have known what I wanted, we would have stayed together the rest of our life. But because I was indecisive and I didn't know what I wanted, I let it go. And I chose to break my own heart and break up with her. And so that's been probably the greatest lesson I've ever had for myself. And I tell you this because when you know what you want, it's easier to get it. But if you're indecisive, it becomes more difficult. And when you allow yourself as a man to be guided by others, it's a balance. You got to know where you stand. Because if not, you'll be subject to the demands and manipulations of other people and what they want from you. And so as you move into life, you bang your head around enough, you figure things out. And even though it might seem like it's too late or whatever, it's not. Because you're alive and this is life. And life is beautiful. Almost because of the heartbreak. You don't realize how beautiful it is. And that's the life well lived, because you've had the range of experiences of everything, or almost everything. It's like, depending on what your life purpose is and your life path is and everything that you come across. But if you take away the lessons, it's a beautiful life overall. And those torsion fields and these different experiences that you have with others, they just become stepping stones to the next layer of the divine unfolding, which is life. And so